Hi, my name's Phil. Talking about politics, and in this video I'd like to discuss some recent reports that various Labour strategists consider Liz Truss to be a tricky opponent to break down. But is this actually true, and do they really mean it? But first, if you'd like to be notified of daily news and politics, please subscribe to the channel and click the bell notification icon. So some people are worried that replacing Boris Johnson with Liz Truss means that the Conservatives could actually win the next election. Even some influential advisors in the Labour Party said that they think Liz Truss is being underestimated and that she will be hard to break down. It is likely, once she is installed, she will get a polling boost as the public show their appreciation for the message finally getting through that Boris Johnson was unfit for office. There will be a lot of doom and gloom, but is any of it justified? Because on the one hand, it is folly to take anything for granted. Labour must take Truss seriously if they are to win. But the way I see it is this. It's a little bit like being a supporter of the best team in the league playing against the worst. You sort of know your team are going to win. But the players themselves mustn't be complacent. They must be as focused and work as hard as if they were playing in the League Cup final, or they could actually lose. And I sort of feel it's the same thing here. As someone on the sidelines, I am confident that the Conservatives have run out of road and can sit back and wait for the general election. The Labour leadership obviously cannot. They have to remain utterly focused and work incredibly hard to win every single vote to make it happen. But I think they are doing that. I can disagree with some of the things they're doing or just the way they're doing them, but I am satisfied that for the first time in a lot of years, they're taking this seriously. As for the Labour advisors who are saying that Truss could be a tricky customer for Labour, well, here are my main thoughts on that. First of all, I've made no secret of the fact that I think Labour and Starmer would have preferred to go against Sunak than Truss. So from that point of view, yes, out of the two of them, which would Labour least like to come up against? Liz Truss. But I've also said that I don't think either hold any terrors for them. When you try and point out that Truss is quite stunningly awful in interviews and debates, because I've seen them, people say, yeah, but look how much she's improved on this campaign. You know, she's getting way better at handling these things. Is she? I would say she's just been made to look good by a combination of Rishi Sunak, who is falling apart at the seams, and the very friendly nature of the host in the debates she's now taking part in. Because the debates she's now taking part in, you've got Tory party hustings. They're made up of Tory party members. The latest TV debate was on GB News, which is again friendly towards her cause. You know, Liz Truss has just said that the idea of a windfall tax to help with the cost of energy crisis is a Labour idea. Now, yeah, I know that Lib Dems out there are going to be going, hang on a minute, oh, no. Because they also supported the idea and technically announced it before Labour did. But this is a gift to Labour. Truss has said that the windfall tax is a Labour idea. But the government implemented a windfall tax, albeit a crap one. So is she going to cancel it? If not, Labour could ask her, why are you implementing this Labour idea then? Is she going to expand it? In which case she's going ahead with a Labour idea and expanding it, as Labour have called for. And Labour, I'll be talking at some point either tomorrow or the day after, depending on when it comes out. Labour are presenting their plan for what to do about the energy crisis tomorrow. And we know that part of it is not allowing the prices to increase 1 penny. That is part of the plan. You know, so regardless of what Liz Truss does, polling shows massive support for the windfall tax. And I'll tell you something, it'll show massive support for a lot of what Labour are going to announce tomorrow. So whatever she actually does, she's giving credit to Labour for an overwhelmingly popular policy. That is not the action of a future Prime Minister that is improving their debating skills. That is the action of a future Prime Minister who's going to trip over themselves so often that Starmer will be pissing himself laughing for the next 2.5 years. As for Labour strategic advisors publicly saying that Truss could be tricky to manage, I always think whenever someone publicly states something, I always think, what's the motivation? Particularly when they are strategists. It's one thing if a Labour MP or any MP says a thing publicly, you don't always know they're the most strategically minded people. But when they're actual strategists, they're always thinking strategically. So there's always a reason for saying it. I'd be more inclined to believe it's designed to give Tories a false sense of security. Try and give the impression, oh yeah, we're actually quite worried about Liz Truss. So the rest of the Conservative Party, who are already backing her, feel more confident. I'm not really seeing genuine fear of Liz Truss. Liz Truss will have about a month where Starmer, all he'll be able to do is set his traps in PMQs as he did for Johnson. He won't be able to make anything really hit home because it'll be very difficult to deal damage before she's had a chance for any policies to blow up in her face. The public will give her a chance. They will absolutely give her a chance. So it'll be like when Starmer first became Labour leader and he had to be supportive of the government to begin with because the public were being supportive and just wait for them to trip over themselves. Come October, the myriad crises in this country will worsen. As I discussed yesterday, I'm quite sure she'll do much more than she's currently saying to avert the problems, but she can only do so much. The position her party is entrenched in doesn't give her enough room to manoeuvre. In 2023, she'll find herself presiding over a recession. Boris Johnson will be not at all subtly saying that there was no recession when he was in charge. She will have failed to do enough to avert the energy crisis, both in terms of cost and supply. Boris Johnson will make frequent mention of the fact that he called for more action and that had he remained in charge, we wouldn't have gotten it. The Tories will try to create the impression that Truss is uniting the party when she first attends Parliament as Prime Minister. Every word she utters will be met by loud braying from her own benchers. Oh, it'll be like the second coming. They all know it's vital that they appear united, but they're not united. Truss will have outraged a good chunk of the parliamentary party with her antics in the leadership contest. And when she either fails or deliberately refuses to adopt the many campaign promises that they will see is what won her the contest, that outrage will grow. When the polls, which will be boosted at the start, drop again, that unity will crack. If the poll rating drops as low as it did under Johnson, the cracks will be huge. And all of this will be accompanied by Boris Johnson pursuing his plan to have the Tories regret ever getting rid of him. By the end of 2022, and as we go into 2023, I don't see any evidence that Labour will be finding Liz Truss all that tricky to deal with. Some of what she does to deal with the energy crisis will have to be in line with what Labour are proposing tomorrow. Remember, the Tories haven't announced anything yet. They say they can't announce anything until the new Prime Minister's in place. Labour are announcing their proposals tomorrow, weeks before the Tories will be. She won't be able to escape the Labour line of attack of being the government of high tax and low growth. She'll keep messing up in interviews and debates because she's fundamentally too lazy to prepare. She's not getting better. She's having more friendly people interviewing her at the moment, more friendly audiences. And she's more relaxed now because she's clearly ahead in this contest. I would ignore any suggestion that she's been doing well this month in the leadership contest. She has had audiences made up almost exclusively of people who approve of her and are paying members of her political party. Be very different when she's facing critical questions and a more critical audience. Liz Truss, just like Boris Johnson before her, refused to be interviewed by Andrew Neil. Her supporters claimed that this was a sound strategic move. Maybe it was. It's not a move that's in line with the idea that she's improved her debating skills, though, is it? And if she's not confident enough to face Andrew Neil during a leadership contest that she's nailed on to win, and Andrew Neil is a Tory, yes, all right, he might be good at interviews, but he's still a Tory. How's she going to cope with questions from Keir Starmer, the man who wants to take her job and who used to literally be our country's top prosecuting lawyer, in a contest that she is not nailed on to win? Now, I can see Tories being bolstered in September and those opposed to the Tories losing their shit at the same time, but give the voting public a couple of months to come to terms with a Liz Truss government and I think normal service will be resumed. Liz Truss is doing so well in the Tory leadership campaign because she's tilted herself towards the membership. which is generally a very narrow set of interests. But this means adopting positions that are very far away from the crucial target voters who have completely different interests, largely in the centre of politics. She's a long way to shift her position to get to those voters, and she's going to find a great deal of resistance within her own party when trying to make that move. I do not believe that Liz Truss is going to present Labour serious problems, medium term, never mind long term. Yes, I said they'd prefer Sunak. I think they'd prefer Sunak, but Truss doesn't really have any aspect to either her character or her abilities or her political position that gives me any real cause for concern. Frankly, the only opposition to a Labour government that I fear is that which exists within the Labour movement trying to break it from the inside. You know, those people who prefer the party to be in opposition for their own purposes. But those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments below. Hope you found the video interesting. If you did, please click the like button. And if you'd like to support the channel further, the join button for memberships. And until next time, I'll see you later.